Welcome to Act Out. I'm Eleanor Goldfield, and this is your tipping point. I love to see a young girl go out and grab the world by the lapels. Life's a bitch. You've got to go out and kick ass. I couldn't have said it better myself, nor did I. Maya Angelou's quote is one of those wake up and stay woke messages of inspiration that so beautifully encapsulates women on the front lines. Women-led and founded movements are nothing new, for sure. You've probably heard of many, but just didn't know about it. Black Lives Matter, for instance, Standing Rock. The importance of recognizing these women goes beyond just a matter of credit where credit is due. It's about ensuring that women and girls recognize and use their power to affect change, to stand up to the patriarchal structures, to stand up and fight. And while we're going to get into a badass revolutionary rundown of women next week for International Women's Day, right now, we're going to outline a couple of actions and ideas that you need to know about. So, first off, back in the earlier days of Act Out, episode 11 in fact, we had community organizer Ebony Washington on the show during the Million Moms March on Washington. Today, we are introducing her latest endeavor, Sisters in Synergy, an organization of women and girls whose mission includes the promotion of human rights through civic engagement, of holistic health of mind, body, and soul, of cultural awareness of the African diaspora, of lifetime learning, and of community building through Ubuntu principles. Ubuntu is a philosophy derived from the word which in Nguni means the quality of being human. The keystone idea can be summed up in the African proverb, "One finger cannot pick up a grain." Ubuntu principles have been used specifically for socio-political endeavors precisely because it highlights our interconnectedness as well, and the necessity of working together. In this way, it is also a personal philosophy that supports what I have often discussed on this show, the importance of personal evolution before social and political. We must first recognize our own place in community, in connection with other beings, before we can hope to create a society founded on the well-being of both people and planet. In an article in Huffington Post, Reverend William E. Flippen Jr. explained the core concepts of Ubuntu thusly. When we act upon deeply feeling a sense of being connected to others by our common humanity, when we truly regard self and other as one, when we cherish human dignity, all of our relationships and the level of our behaviors and actions are raised to a higher plane. When we understand and practice Ubuntu, we will realize that each has a vital role to play, which must be held in balance, no one dominating the other. We must break the walls down, build the body up, bring the people together. And it is with this goal of bringing together and building that the Sisters in Synergy are organizing a women's march in conjunction with the annual Selma Bridge Crossing taking place this Sunday, March 5th. The action will not only align with the continued fight for racial justice in this country, but it will also pointedly remark on the importance of Black women in the fights for justice across issues, and ask allies to march with or behind Black women as they lead the way in this march. To learn more about Sisters in Synergy, visit sistersinsynergy.com. Moving on, as I mentioned, next Wednesday is International Women's Day, which on the whole is just kind of some random-ass day that's thrown out there to make it seem like the socio-political world actually gives a damn about women, which, It doesn't. According to the World Bank, 62 million girls globally are out of school. Women remain half as likely as men to have full-time wage jobs. Those who have paid work earn up to 1/3 less than men, partly as a result of occupational sex segregation. Women are more likely to engage in low productivity work and work in informal sector, and they spend at least twice as much time on unpaid domestic work and care activities as men. They contribute significant unpaid work, about 58%, to family enterprises and farms. So, who gives a shit? A girl doesn't get a great education, stays on a farm, and grows cucumbers. What's the big deal, right? Wrong. As Chantel Baxter, founder of One Girl, wrote in an article last year, an educated girl will marry later and have fewer children. For every year of schooling, her income will increase by at least 10 to 25%. And she'll reinvest 90% of the money she earns back into her family. Educating a girl has a multiplier effect. When you educate a girl, you educate a nation. Educating women has literally pulled some communities out of starvation and grotesque poverty. Education creates economic opportunity, but more importantly, it creates social opportunity. It creates the space from which creative and critical thinking arises, and it is why this fucking mess is tragic. It is also why we, as educated women, must work to educate the women coming up today, and not just in things like science and math, but as you'll see in next week's show, in the history of badass, rule-breaking, no-shit-taking women. But before I get too ahead of myself, yes, the rosy International Women's Day is out of sync with the unequal realities of our world today. That being said, if we can use that day to build and fight, it will be a day well spent. The International Women's Strike seeks to do just that by organizing a global general strike on Wednesday, March 8th, in order to combat misogyny in the political, religious, and private spheres. Now, as you might recall from episode 100, a strike without clear-cut goals is kinda just a day off. And while I really want to say that this so-called strike is different, the strike itself is not. What could be different about this is how it's executed in each locality. The Women's Strike website doesn't make the connection deliberately, but by mentioning strikes such as the one in Poland in 2016, where women went on strike to protest the government's plan to criminalize abortion and miscarriages, plans that were then summarily overturned due to the women's strike. By mentioning actions like these, the IWS organizers do make the point that when women come together in their communities to strike with a clear-cut goal and purpose, we win. And so, by promoting this message across the globe for that one day, we can utilize that energy created to build and fight. However, if we don't, then yeah, it is just another day off. So to ensure that this doesn't just fizzle, visit parodemujeres.com to find your local action and get to work. By first and foremost connecting with women in your community, reaching out to organizations dealing with women's issues, and using the solidarity of each other. Using those Ubuntu principles to become a little uncomfortable, a lot ungovernable, and every bit a woman on the front lines.